overthinking. We all do it. And I think the bottom line is that we cannot think our way into perfection. We just need to do and make decisions. And of course, there's nuance to everything. Like I say, you don't just want to do things and not think about the solution or what you want or what it's going to breed, but you want to do things, make an informed decision, think about it for the appropriate amount of time, and once you make that decision, move on, move on, move on. Think about the results you want. Think about what you're needing in this decision. Think about what this decision will do for you, for others, and decide. And once you decide, move on, because overthinking that decision will not bring a better outcome. When it's already done, it won't bring a different outcome, and it probably will just make it worse if the decision is done. So overthinking does not bring perfection, and I need to think that for myself also, because sometimes if I make a decision, I will get nervous and get kind of choked up, and then I'll be thinking about it and I'll be frozen and not be able to get anything else done. And to break free from that cycle, I really have to tap into my thoughts and be aware and say, look, why am I overthinking this? Is this going to change anything with me overthinking this? Can I let this go? Can I move on? And what is it going to bring if I stay here all day? Probably nothing. So let me move on and be productive in another area. And once I move on, it'll probably feel uncomfortable for a couple minutes, but I will get into the move and the groove and find common ground where I'm able to just continue into the next task. It will feel uncomfortable breaking free from the cycle of overthinking, but when you think about what the overthinking is going to do to you, and think about a couple questions, maybe 3 questions of like, what is this thought doing to me? Making me nervous. Are these thoughts going to bring about change? Probably not. What are these thoughts doing to me physically? And maybe my heart is beating a little faster, I'm feeling a little sick, it's not going well for me being in this overthinking state. So hey, I can move on and do something else and be productive in other areas, or I can stay here and sit with this when it's not going to change anything based off of the questions that I asked myself. So I'm probably going to move on. And that's kind of how I break through the cycle of overthinking, and it's always different. You know, there's different levels to what is really bothering you, but I do try to just talk myself through it and get started into the next thing. And I always know it's going to feel uncomfortable for a little bit as I start the next task, but I know it's worth it because I'm not spending my time on things that I can't control. I'm not spending my time on things that really won't make a difference inside of my head. And I'm able to move on from that when I rationalize a little bit better about why I'm overthinking, and when I stop doing it because I'm talking myself through the situation. Overthinking is such a huge waste of energy, and it doesn't produce any results when the decision is made. So go ahead and talk yourself down from that ledge of anxiety and let yourself know that overthinking this situation right now is not bringing me peace, it's not bringing me joy, it's distracting me from other circumstances and situations, and it's not going to change my circumstance or situation. Trust yourself, make a decision and move on. Make an informed decision and move on. If you've prayed about it, you've thought about it, you've given it to God, you've made the decision, make that decision in confidence and move on. And the funny part is, if it doesn't go well, if somebody's offended, if somebody doesn't like that, you can address it and you can be calm, and you don't have to be defensive. You don't have to be mad. You can hear them and process it then. But you don't have to process it a million ways now and waste your energy trying to overthink yourself into perfection.